might get subverted, but it's something that feels like something that he can actually do, that feels like an art project. And then he has to go and basically like navigate the legal system, which is very difficult to do. You know, most cartoon characters, you know, whether it's Mickey Mouse or whatever, have like huge corporations that have law firms on retainer to protect their IP. And as an independent person, you don't. And the other thing is like, you know, Matt was put in a position where he really has to protect the character's copyright. You have to be actively policing the copyright of the character in order to like continue to use the copyright. So it was something that I think Louis Tomprose and Stephanie Lynn, who are his attorneys who work at WilmerHale, felt like this was like a really righteous challenge for them after the election. And, you know, it was kind of interesting. They actually came to Sundance to see the film, and Louis got a nice, like, applause break when his first line in the film is, it's not often that a nerdy intellectual copyright attorney gets to fight the alt-right, but when someone asks us, we're ready. And like the audience burst into applause. It was a really sweet moment. His wife leaned over and like squeezed his arm.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it was sweet. So that is the third act of the film, you know, and the movie is about a lot of stuff. Obviously, it's about like, you know, artistic agency online. It's about how trolling moved off of these like weird message boards and then into our mainstream politics. But, you know, it's really about Matt doing something. It's about Matt realizing that he has this problem and that he can't ignore the problem. He has to deal with it. And that's going to set him up for praise and ridicule and all these different things. And so, you know, to tell a story about the complications of the internet, I think we needed like a very relatable central figure. And I think Matt was that person. But, you know, as you can hear, even here, like asking Matt these questions as a friend was often like difficult for me. Like it's something that I think he has a lot of mixed feelings about, and it's very understandable, you know.
Sure.
And now he's promoting the film for us, which I mean, I appreciate, but I also feel like there's a part of Matt that wants to leave Pepe, which he drew as like a, you know, 26-year-old, 25-year-old behind, and move on to like being a father, being an artist, having like this other life that isn't attached to this character that he made in his 20s. So the movie is also kind of about growing up.
Yeah, I'm sorry that Pepe keeps dragging you down, Matt. I mean, you know.
Well, it's not your fault, but well, you know, the cool thing is, man, like, to be honest, like, I'm a huge fan of this show. I remember listening to the interview that you did with RuPaul, and that really kind of, I've always liked RuPaul, but that went so deep, and I thought, you know, that just really struck a nerve with me. I think it hit me really emotionally, and it was a really cool story. And just the fact that I'm on now talking about this, even though I hate talking about it, it's a blessing, and you know, it's something that I wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to do otherwise. So I appreciate you having us on the show, and you know, so I gotta just try to focus on stuff like this, which is positive. It's all just, as Ram Dass would say, grist for the mill. You know, it's the good, it's the bad. You just got to grind it all. So, and I'm here to help Arthur too, because he's my buddy and he's promoting this film. I feel awkward promoting a film that I'm the subject of. So, you know, I don't even feel comfortable watching the film with my own mother.
Your mom does love the movie. I watched the film with your mom. She had a lot of questions. We went to dinner afterwards.
Well, they never know exactly what you're up to, the parents.
Yeah. She was very proud. She was over the moon after the film.
Oh, good.
She called you a warrior. Yeah, it was sweet. It was very sweet. She's a very proud mother.
So, well, Matt, well, I mean, in speaking of that, how is your quality of life now? I mean, outside of the world ending, I mean, you know, in terms of your little world that you've created for yourself, you're still in the Bay Area?
Yeah, my world's good, man. I'm doing a lot of gardening. My kid's about to start kindergarten. I'm just chilling. I'm enjoying my summer, going to the beach a lot and stuff. So it's fine.
So now has there been some, like, you know, maybe the part I won't ruin about the movie is how Pepe was used proactively in a revolutionary way at the end, that there was sort of a nice turn of events for Pepe a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we had a literal Deus Ex Machina moment. We were getting the film ready for Sundance with a very different ending. And actually, Marc, we have when you were interviewing Dale Baran, who is a consultant on the movie, he was in town to do your podcast, and we kind of end the movie with this nice little interview with Dale about about what was going on with Pepe in Hong Kong. That is a spoiler, but I think it's an important story. And he came in and did this little interview that just was kind of put the perfect little period at the end of the film. So it was nice to have him in town to be able to do that. There's, the thing that also the end of the movie speaks to is what was going on with Pepe in America, in the United States in 2015 and 2016. Was unique. Pepe, simultaneous to that, was being used in, Malaysia and Taiwan and Hong Kong and all these other places. As it first happened as a meme, it was a reaction image in gaming communities. And so that happening in Hong Kong just really popped up because the character is so globally popular. But it created a pretty amazing moment to end the film on, which I still can't believe happened.
It's weird, and maybe in a different time, in a different world, Matt, you could have eventually had a theme park of some kind.
I know. Yeah, weirdly, Ayana said that she always thought I would have a theme park one day, so who knows?
Could still.
I think a water park would be Matt's speed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love water parks.
Well, look, fellas, I think you did a great job. Film, I found him very provocative, and it fills in a lot of I think gaps for a lot of people my age and older who don't really understand this stuff and the power of it and how it affects them, but also younger people as well.
Well, I mean, Pepe is seems like a ridiculous story, but I mean, ultimately QAnon came out of 4chan too.
Right.
And there's 11 different candidates that came out in different Republican primaries across the country that all have had some sort of allegiance to QAnon. So even though Pepe does seem like this ridiculous stone cartoon frog, it does speak to this larger irreality that's happening in America.
You know?
And that's
the larger what kind of reality?
Yeah. Irreality.
I mean, I haven't heard that
irreality.
one. Yeah. It's not an alternative reality. It's a non-reality.
Is it a word? Yeah, maybe I just.
And I like it.
Word.
Irreality.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's becoming it's manifesting as a belief system. That's almost more than a reality. It feels to me that the way it's taking hold of people's minds is more like a religion than an interpretation of reality, which is problematic.
It's it appeals specifically to evangelical Christians.
Right. No, I know.
So
yeah,
it is.
The channels are already there.
Yeah.
The neural pathways have already been carved.
Exactly. Somehow the Book of Revelation flows directly into QAnon. But I guess just the larger point is these things that kind of start in these fever swamps of the internet work their way up. And they take control of the attention economy in unique ways. And it's something that, hopefully we all have to just be aware of because it's becoming a bigger and bigger problem throughout society.
Well, thank you for shining some light on it, fellas.
All right.
All right. Take it easy, you guys.
Thanks, man.
Okay, thank you.
So that was a good conversation. I enjoyed talking to them. We learned a lot there. You can see the movie, Feels Good Man, now on most digital and video on-demand platforms. Now, picking up where they left off, I wanted to talk to Andrew Marantz, whose book I like. His book, I didn't finish it yet, but I'm going to finish it. His book is Antisocial, Online Extremists, Techno-Utopians, and the Hijacking of the American Conversation. You can get it now, but it's going to be out in paperback on the 15th of this month, September. And he's been writing for The New Yorker for years. And the evolution of the conversation that we started a year ago with Dale Baran kind of moves into this QAnon thing. And Andrew's been kind of tackling that. So I thought he was the guy to talk to. So this is Andrew Marantz, and we're continuing the conversation. How are you, Andrew?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Grading on a curve.
I know. I just I asked somebody that question, a friend of mine on text, and she said, "I'm not great. I'm not horrible." And I said, "Well, when everything is horrible, it's hard to be great."
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so here we are. The conversation has been hijacked.
Yeah.
What started with 4chan and Reddit, through the minds and eyes of disenfranchised, angry high school males who were then sort of turned out by older, creepy neo-Nazis and then sort of fractioned off into incels, and then sort of that kind of coagulated with Russian troll meme language and the Pepe stuff. And then all of a sudden, I think the big addition to what is becoming this amalgamated mess of propaganda is the infusion of QAnon, but also I think it seems to me to be the sort of the realm of radical evangelical Christianity. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Is that where we're at? Has everything coagulated? Is there a natural evolution that you see to this QAnon thing?
Yeah, there's definitely an evolution, and so my book came out last year. It actually hasn't even come out in paperback yet, and already, as with all these internet things, some parts of the specifics can start to feel dated. But the underlying systemic forces are exactly the same. So when I was writing about this stuff, it was more in the phase where it was Pizzagate rather than QAnon, right? So it hadn't yet metastasized into this grander thing, which we can talk about. But the underlying systemic forces of how social media works, what it's incentivizing people to do, the kinds of feedback loops it's drawing people into, the system is still working exactly as designed. So a couple of the individual loopholes have been closed.
As designed by who and for what reason?
As designed by the social media companies. So the reason that I call my book antisocial is because the word antisocial applies to the creeps and propagandists and disinformation agents who I hang out with, and I would sit at their side and watch them destroy America, and I would kind of call them and say, hey, you are doing this thing from your laptop in Orange County, California, or in Michigan, or in wherever. Right. Can I come sit in your kitchen and watch you destroy America? And they'd say, yeah, right. Sure. And so I would do that. They were the kind of antisocial ones, but it's also antisocial in the sense of, hey guys, social media is doing this to us in a very concerted way.
So the design of social media, the intention was not to destroy America, but you're saying that fundamental to the design of it, the way these loops create by amassing followers around ideology, and then by other people sort of entering it through random tweets or reactions, that the design of it, which was idealistically to bring people together, it's doing that, but in the most malignant way.
Correct. So it's bringing people into these forms of community, and right. It's also doing, at the most basic level, what the algorithms are designed to do, which is just to maximize and monetize attention. They're just trying to suck in your attention, get you to stay on the platform for as long as possible. And often it's not even the human beings, but it's the algorithms who are figuring out that if you want to get someone to stay on your platform for 8 or 10 hours a day, actually the best way to do that is to radicalize them to some kind of new cult ideology that they will then sit in their bunker and explore and do all this research.
Yeah, because but again, but that seems like evil intent. But so radicalizing for an ideology in terms of the people that created this stuff would have been more like around brands.
Right. So the people who created these things are not like, there's going to be this thing called QAnon and everybody's going to get converted to it. They're just thinking in their techno-utopian way, we're going to put all this freedom out there, and we're going to break down barriers and reduce friction, and that's going to make the world a better place. It's going to bring everyone closer together, because they just sort of were operating at this very basic level of, not to be a dick about it, but like Mark Zuckerberg didn't finish college, right? So he never read like sociology and philosophy and history to see how these things could derail. He just learned enough coding and got, enough positive feedback and, frankly, financial rewards for that coding, that he thought, oh, coding is the way of the future. The more I can, disintermediate and put power in people's hands, the better it'll be. And there was this basic underlying philosophy that the best stuff will spread and the cream will rise to the top. And then the really dark, gnarly stuff that we're talking about, he obviously, and the people who created this stuff obviously didn't foresee, I'm going to convert everyone to this weird cult that thinks that
but it happened in sort of the kind of fun-loving way initially. Mm-hmm. That someone like Zuckerberg would have intended it to happen. Like for Pepe to sort of be appropriated and then sort of, repossessed by the alt-right as this kind of funny way of getting kids involved with hate, was sort of like, it's turning it on its head. But that is the